Now, of course, infrastructure has made a net contribution of around 1%, point for Nigeria's improved per capita growth performance in the recent years. Sport infrastructure is not left out in this conversation. When it comes to professional sport in Nigeria, having proper sport infrastructure is very crucial. Not only does it provide a platform for athletes to train and compete, but it also helps grow the sport industry in the country. In the heart of Ajegunle, Lagos, Nigeria, lies a sprawling sport edifice, modern and equipped as any existing anywhere in the world. With over 3,000 children playing different categories of football on 19 pitches, one can be forgiven to think that this is a European, country. This edifice is found in a European country. But the difference is that the new look for the Maracana Stadium just behind Apapa has two sprawling 96-bed each hostel named after two Europeans' well-known stars, Wilfred Ndidi of England, Leicester City, and Karim Adeyemi of Borussia Dortmund. This edifice, of course, powered by the Nathaniel Idowu Foundation, the new Maracana Stadium embodies the dream of every Nigerian talented young kid, most of whose schools do not have playing grounds for them to explore. Although Ajegunle is regarded by outsiders as a tough community where only the brave can survive, the new Maracana Stadium has its potential to erase such misconception and present the community of what it is known for, a talent incubator. We have the pleasure of having the brain behind the wonderful contribution to the society, an entrepreneur and industrialist, Yemi Idowu, joining us in the studio today. Thank you so much, Yemi, for joining us in the studio on In the Game.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. It's a great thing that we are tuning in today. So I would say peace to the world, peace to sport development. Now, it's so exciting to hear that one man is the brain behind this beautiful edifice, this beautiful, construction for hope for children. Maracana has been known to, bring a lot of talent. Brown Ideye, Igalo. Of course, we heard about Igalo having to play at Maracana. And I remember sometime in 2018, I visited the place and there was a promise that there'll be a renovation work done there. The former governor of Lagos State, Ajegunle Ambode, did say he had a plan work already. He had the plan already, in sight to renovate the stadium. But please, 2022, I saw a big difference in Maracana Stadium. And the brainchild behind it was just the Nathaniel Idowu's Foundation. Please share with us the background story behind the Maracana renovation and other stakeholders. You seem to only focus on children and youth for this development.
Yes. Good morning. Thank you for having me. So it's a good opportunity to share the story with you. Yes, we do focus on children and school-age kids and the youth. But the original playground was designed as a public open space. But over the years, it became a rubbish dump. And when we got there, the rubbish was, many meters high. And the entire place was, abandoned. And the plan was for a mini stadium to be put there, but the soil was just not adequate. The bearing capacity of the soil was not able to cope with that. That's why many successive governments were not able to do anything with it. So we went in there after negotiating with the local government and the state government, and we came up with this idea of putting 19 football fields, table tennis, swimming pool, eventually tennis, basketball, and indoor sports. We've also added, as you mentioned before, hostels. We currently have 2 hostels, but we're going to end up with 5 hostels there. Those 2 hostels have capacity for 192 students each, and we've named the first one after Wilfred Ndidi and the second one after Karim Adeyemi from Borussia Dortmund.
A great one there for your contribution to this development. Normally, you would expect that a mini stadium would be built there, as you did say earlier. How come you chose a 5-a-side and 7-a-side pitches?
Yeah, so as I said, this is really for the children. So, people have a wrong conception about Ajegunle. Actually, Ajegunle, I feel safer in Ajegunle than anywhere else. because the people there are very, very welcoming and they're very nice. But the thing is that there's just no facilities in that place. So if you have one stadium, only 11 people can play on one pitch. But if you've got multiple 5-a-side and 7-a-side pitches, then hundreds and thousands can play. The last event we had over 3,000 children playing on it because they can play multiple games in one day and multiple times in one day. So that is why we chose the 5-a-side and 7-a-side pitches. It can accommodate more children.
Surely this was just centered around youth and children around Ajegunle. Now, if you're a Lagosian, you will know Ajegunle. Oh, that's where I remember the daddy showkeys of this time, where they emanated from. It's just a place where dreams come true. They'll tell you from the slum to the world. That's what they call Ajegunle. But it is also known for other things, known to be a fortress for restive youth, of course. Were you faced with any difficulties, challenges carrying the construction work at the site?
No, no. It's the other way around. Everybody came out to help. All the youth, the local government, the community, the chieftaincy family there, everybody helped us. In fact, like I said, I do business all over Lagos. But Ajegunle, the youth in Ajegunle are unbelievable. They come from a very varied background, in terms of multi-ethnic, and because they have nobody, they just have themselves. So they tend to cooperate a lot, and they welcome any, improvement in their environment. So they didn't see it as an obstacle. They actually saw it as a plus, and they cooperated very well with us.
I think they should override the misconception about Ajegunle. It's not a place for, irate youths. It's a place where youths understand the need for growth, the need for development. I know Maracana is just behind Tinkan Island, if I'm correct. How did you address the challenges of flooding? I remember the place was, water drone and all when I got there, when I visited in 2018. How did you address that? There's a serious challenge, especially for children going to school around there. That waterlogged area. How did you handle that to build such an edifice in that location?
Yes. So if you watch the video, the presentation video of the video behind the pictures behind the scene that was done last year, you see that what we did was when we evacuated all the rubbish, because I have like almost 30 years experience in doing estates and things like that. What we did was we sand-filled the place, and then we now buried pipes underneath. So as you see that entire complex with 19 football fields, there's a complex, pipeline of concrete pipes and drainage all over the entire site. So when rain falls, all the water is channeled through all the pipes, and it goes underground almost like 500 meters, half a kilometer back to the lagoon. So the site is always drained, and it was very expensive, but it was worth it in the end. It's really, it was a very good engineering case study for us at that time.
A very great case study. I think a lot should learn from that. This will prevent some saggy pitches and also help in maintenance. Let's talk about maintenance right now. What are the plans for long-term maintenance of the Maracana Stadium? We know this is a shortcoming for Nigeria, especially when it comes to developing infrastructure. We lack this maintenance knowledge. We do not maintain. We love to see it as new, as brand new as it is. But after construction, what next? What are the plans for maintenance? What plans were laid out to maintain the Maracana Stadium?
Yes. So Maracana is like our Wembley. It's not somewhere you go every day to go and play. It's more event-based, and it's targeted purely at the youth. So we have our events, and just before the events, we prepare, and then when we have the events usually take 1 day or sometimes 2 days, and we have invited schools come in. And so before the event, we prepare for it, and after the event, any repairs or anything we have to do, we do for it. We do have people who go there for training and things like that, but they don't put pressure on the complex. But when we do have children don't damage infrastructure.
Wow.
So they actually, and they're very...
But children are very inquisitive. They
yeah,
want to
yeah,
touch everything.
They're very obedient. You tell them to queue up here, you tell them to take their turn. So when you come in, you get a wristband, and all the pitches are labeled 1 to 10 on one side, and then 11 to 18. And so you know what pitch you're going to play, and you go there, you sit down, you queue up, you wait for your time, and then so everything is all labeled, just like the way you're in the airport. You see all the matches. So as the matches are being played, it's clearing up, and then new matches are coming up, and so there really isn't much. It's very, very well organized. We have a lot of volunteers from Ajegunle, from outside Ajegunle, adults, teachers, parents that come to help. So the ratio of children to adults is usually quite good. So they don't damage it. I'll say that they're very well behaved.
Oh, you have so much confidence in these children, but I really would love to hear the plans that has been laid out for continuity. Yes, they have the tags. They know the pitch they're going to play. They have their game. But what has been laid out for continuity? So those who are given these tags don't get tired. What has been laid out? Share with us the blueprint.
So we have 5 groupings. Okay. So the oldest is SS2 to SS3. Then you have SS1, GS3, and then GS1, GS2, Primary 5, Primary 6, Primary 3, Primary 4. So those groupings, as you come in through the system, every 2 years you progress. The maximum you can play in a group is 2 years. And the organization is done through the school system. You can't come on your own. You have to come through your school. And your school has to be registered with us and through the Lagos FA. And then when the events are being planned, you play in the preliminaries in your school, within yourself. So you have inter-school, inter-house sports, inter-school sports, and then you now qualify to come and play in the events. So when those events come, once you've participated once and you're registered, it's easy to play in the next event. You get invited. But the first invitation is a key one for your school to be invited or for you to be invited. But once you're in the program, then that's it. You just progress through the years until you leave school. So after school, we don't have coverage. We don't have jurisdiction, let's say it like that, for adults. That is for the FAs and the NFF. We are focused purely for the children and school sports.
All right. This is a great one and a good development, especially promoting youth who've got dream to play football. I'll be hoping that this long-term plan for maintenance, continues even in years to come. This is a way of employing, an employment skill too for those who will be making sure that Maracana is being maintained properly. Now, I remember the Minister of Youth and Sport, Minister of Sport, I beg your pardon, paid a courtesy visit to the stadium, commending the new look. And he made some great comments. He complimented on the work that has been done so far at the Maracana Stadium. Do you think, with what he is saying, would this ignite the drive for other stadium renovation and maintenance? The National Stadium is still in a dire condition, and we are hoping that what has been done, Maracana, will transcend the National Stadium. Do you think this will ignite the drive for renovation?
Yes, I think what has happened now is that, as a case study, we've made something very clear now, and that is that, school sports must be separate from association football. Okay. And because that was a mistake. They were using, they were having these national stadiums or main stadiums, and they were trying to integrate school sports into this. And, it doesn't give you the right atmosphere or the right facilities to have 4 schools coming into a big area where a 35,000-seater capacity stadium. It just doesn't work. It's too expensive, difficult to maintain. But what has happened now is that we have accepted that we can replicate this nationwide for children. So, and we must involve the schools, because the current system of trying to do junior football without integrating the schools is what's causing the problem. So as long as you're in school sports and you're in junior football, you cannot be outside the school system and then say you're in school sports, no matter your age. If you're not in school and you're underage, then you've got to go through grassroots football. but for school sports, you must be in school. So the plan is that these facilities, you find a cluster of schools, and you try and integrate these facilities within the cluster of schools. So just like we used to have PE in those days, this is now integrated into the way we knew when we were younger. You have inter-house sports, inter-school sports, and then you go up. But you cannot jump straight from school and just be going to the national stadium and things like that. So what we've agreed with the Ministry of Sports is that they try and get school sports in all the states to try and now develop facilities like this.
But so far, after that visit, what has come out of that conversation with the Minister of Sport?
Nigeria is a very difficult place, you find, from a regulatory point of view. It's very difficult to change 35 years of thinking in a few months. And also, there's a lot of, how can I say, ring fencing, and people want to protect their area. Because you've got Ministry of Education that's got the schools, you've got Ministry of Sports trying to run the sports. At the junior level, there has to be cooperation between the schools. So getting that linkage is what we're trying to do now. And also trying to, we don't want to go too high. I mean, anyone that tries to solve the problem in 1 year is probably going to find it difficult. So we're just going to take it at baby steps. And that is, the first thing is to get the policy in place. Then the next thing is to train the trainers, try and get the teachers and try and get the coaches to have a different mindset on this issue. Because at the levels we're looking at, you're looking at amateur, association football, federation football, and then international football. So if you're playing as amateur football, you're playing for fun. You're just competing for fun. When you play association football, you're playing within your state. When you're playing federation, you're playing within the country, and then you go to a national final. And then internationally, you play elite sports. That means you are now at the professional level for juniors who want to do under 17 and under 20. Yeah.
Okay, great one there. I did hear about some FA football teams going there for their competition. So that's a light at the tunnel. That's a great one. We can heave a sigh of relief. But Idowu, do you see a future where Nigeria will become a fortress for hosting football competition due to the availability of modern training facilities? We see Morocco. Morocco don't have, not on the same pedestal with us when it comes to GDP growth. But they are hosting competitions. Morocco is hosting the CAF Women's Champions League. Morocco is hosting a lot of competition. 2025, they will host the African Cup of Nations. When will Nigeria be a fortress for hosting football competition? Do you see that in the nearest future?
Well, I think there's nothing wrong with dreaming, but one day you have to wake up. The thing about it is that what you see in Morocco now did not start overnight. It happened, it was over many, many years of in the making. What we need to do, I mean, when I hear people talk about international competitions, there's nothing wrong in it, but there are certain steps we have to do. The first thing is that we must have our own internal competitions. When you have your interstate competition that you have, and you successfully host that and you do well, you now go to your national competition, and which means you can have a center where Akwa Ibom can come to play Sokoto, and Sokoto can play Benue. And when people will come, they stay in hotels and they have all those things. Once all those things are in place, then you can now go the next step and you have invitational tournaments. Then you test run, you can fly from Kano to Akwa Ibom and Akwa Ibom back and forth, and everybody is fine. When you have that and you have a track record and you have a business model, it becomes easier to say, look, we're going to now have an international competition. But to jump from zero competition in Nigeria to an international competition is not going to happen. And that's why I'm trying to get all these organizations to come together. It has to be private sector driven. It cannot be government driven. Government is at the policy level, but at the operational level, you need the airlines to have the right schedules for the competitions. You need to have the hotels being prepared for this. For example, we had the match Nigeria versus I think it was Cape Verde, or I think it was Cape Verde, the Nigerian qualifiers. And when you look at the schedule of the airlines, the flights were arriving just before the matches, and after the matches, there were no flights leaving. That kind of thing, when you organize that kind of competition, you go first of all quickly to the airlines and say, listen, can you provide more planes? Can you provide for people to arrive just in time for the matches? And can you provide enough planes for people to leave? Then it becomes easy for people from out of town to take, wake up in the morning, go to the airport, fly, and come back. The same thing for the hotels. If you're going to have 5,000 people coming into my town, you come to the hotel association, sit down with them. What can you do? You put up food courts, you put up reception areas, you put up at the airport, make everywhere ready. But to try and bring 5,000 people into town and you don't expand capacity in the hotel,
who should be charged with doing all this? Who are those to be charged with doing?
It has to be private sector driven. Everything has to be private sector driven. Government will make the policy, but then you have hotel association, you have the sporting associations. We're lucky in Nigeria because of the way the football federation is set up. Their focus is, even though the Nigerian Football Federation, they're only focused on international sports. And Super Eagles and Flying Eagles and stuff like that. They're really not focused on this type of things.
Okay.
So we need the local private sector people in each state to come together to try and come up with a package to host this type of events.
Right, we'll be hoping for that future. He said, we can dream, but for it to come alive is what we should cross our fingers about. You did talk about this Maracana Stadium open to children, youth, but there should be a kind of eligibility. What makes you eligible to, use the Maracana Stadium? Can you share with us? Is it open and free for all to just go there and play football?
No, it's not open to the public. It's open to the schools. Okay. So it's part of the National School Sports Program. So each school has to come together to go through the FA. The FA has a program. So definitely I know about Lagos. Let me talk about Lagos State. Right. So Lagos State has a program for school sports, and all the school has to do is to register through the Lagos State FA and through the Ministry of Education. Each of the school districts have a calendar for the year. So once that calendar is published with all the events, the school has to register with them, and then that's it. Then everything just takes place automatically. Okay, but you must be integrated with the sports calendar.
All right, so they can enjoy football if they just register.
Yes.
Let's wrap up this conversation right now. It's been an interesting one, of course. I'm having that drive to invest maybe in sport development in the nearest future. What advice do you have for those trying to support youth sport, especially in Nigeria, Lagos?
Yes. So in each community, if you have the capacity, try and get children together, because the children want to play. They will organize themselves, but they need someone to support them. With a very small amount of money in your community, try and find where the children are playing football and try to organize them, support them, provide them some very small amount of money. They don't need much money. If it means to provide water for them, to buy a jersey for them, to provide vitamins and maybe a small stipend for some food, feeding and things like that, whatever you can. So what that means is that the minute they're organized, they become eligible to now participate in school sports, because all of them will be in the school, thereabouts. So once they are integrated with their school, because that linkage with the children to the school is what is required now, because the school finishes at 2 p.m. and then school is not supervising after 2 p.m. So you need some adults who will come together, parents, community leaders, to put these teams together to play after school football. And then once they're good enough, they can now participate in this competition, and then you're on your way. So that is my advice I will give. Don't try and do everything at the same time. Just try and organize only your community. And once you have a team you're sponsoring, it becomes easy to follow through with them through the structure I've explained. Going through the school, then the district system, and then to the state, and then to participate in Maracana.
Of course, to just summarize all that you've said, charity begins from home. So start up from home first, then you can, explore to the world. We've been having a conversation with Yemi Idowu, an industrialist, an entrepreneur, and the brain behind the renovation of the Maracana Stadium in Ajegunle. Thank you so much. It's been an interesting conversation with you. I'm hoping that everything that has been said here we put to action, especially what you did share, for those who love to go into youth sports, who would like to also do something like this renovation work done at Maracana Stadium. Thank you so much for being with us on In the Game.
Thank you. Thank you.